The stars glittered like diamonds in the black sky above the quiet human colony on Arcturus 9. People lived simple lives on this faraway planet, farming and building small homes. They never imagined that their peaceful nights would be broken by visitors from beyond the stars. One evening, a sudden flash of light split the sky, and a massive vessel descended slowly. Its metal shimmered like liquid silver, and strange symbols glowed across its surface. Children screamed in fear, and adults ran outside to watch the strange arrival. From the belly of the vessel, a single figure emerged. A woman, pale and fragile, her eyes glowed softly with a strange light, and her gaze seemed to pierce the hearts of all who looked at her. A hush fell over the crowd as the woman stepped onto the ground. Her movements graceful but deliberate, she carried a small device in her hands. Shaped like a crystal, a deep voice echoed from the vessel. Translating into human language, "She is a gift," the voice said. Calm and commanding, from the Eldarians, the guardians of life, she comes to you, human. And to none other, Kale, a young man who had spent his life on Arcturus 9, felt his heart pound in his chest. He had never seen anything like this, and yet, something inside him told him he was meant to be part of it. The woman looked directly at him and whispered, "I cannot bear children, but you. You can make me more than I am." A shiver ran down Kale's spine, and the wind seemed to carry her words deep into his soul. The villagers murmured among themselves, some afraid, some curious. No one knew why the Eldarians had chosen Kale, and no one understood what they meant by her being a gift. Kale stepped forward, feeling both fear and a strange pull he could not resist. The woman's eyes glimmered with an unearthly wisdom, and Kale felt as if she could see every part of his heart. The crystal in her hands began to glow brighter, casting shadows across the colony. Kale reached out, trembling, and touched the crystal, and a warm energy spread through his fingers. He felt memories that were not his own, images of distant planets, alien skies, and creatures of light. The air around him shimmered, and the stars above seemed to bend closer. A sudden roar echoed from the skies, and Kale looked up to see small alien scouts circling the colony. They were sleek and fast, with wings that glowed in the dark. Kale realized that their presence was not just ceremonial. They were watching him, testing him. The woman, whose name he now learned was Lyra, took his hand and smiled softly. "You have been chosen for more than life on this world," she said. "Your courage will be needed, and your heart will be tested." Kale felt a mixture of pride and fear, unsure if he could live up to what was expected. The villagers stepped back, some shaking, others whispering prayers. Kale noticed that the air was thick with tension, as if the planet itself held its breath. Suddenly, a shadow moved across the colony. Fast and silent, Kale instinctively grabbed Lyra and pulled her to safety. A strange humming energy filled the air, and the ground beneath them trembled. He looked up and saw the alien vessel open wider, revealing a swirling light inside. From the light, more figures began to appear, but not like Lyra. These were smaller, strange, and unfamiliar. Kale knew immediately that life on Arcturus 9 would never be the same again. The night grew colder, and the stars blinked as if watching, waiting for what would come next. Lyra squeezed Kale's hand, and he felt a determination rise within him. Whatever this gift was, he would not run. He would face it with courage. The first step of a journey that could change not just their lives, but the galaxy itself had begun. And as the night stretched on, whispers of destiny, fear, and hope filled the air. Kale knew that he had been chosen, and there was no turning back. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging the arrival of something extraordinary. And in that quiet moment, Kale realized that his life, his heart, and his courage would be tested beyond imagination. The morning sun rose over Arcturus 9, casting soft light across the colony. Kale could not sleep. his mind still full of Lyra's strange words and glowing eyes. He watched her as she moved gracefully among the villagers. Her presence was gentle but powerful, like a breeze that carried secrets from faraway worlds. Cale felt a strange connection, something he could not explain. He had never met anyone like her, and yet he sensed that he already knew her. The Eldarians had not explained why she was sterile, only that she was a gift meant for him. Every villager whispered in awe and fear, calling her a blessing, calling her a mystery. Cale knew he had to learn more, even if it meant facing danger. Lyra led Cale to the edge of the colony. Near the cliffs where the wind howled, she held out her hand, and Cale felt warmth spread through his fingers. "I am not like you," she said softly. "I cannot create life in the way humans do. But with you, Cale, we can awaken something greater. Something no one has ever seen." Cale looked into her glowing eyes and felt both fear and hope. He did not fully understand, but he trusted her, and he wanted to try. The Eldarians had chosen him for a reason, and he could feel it deep in his bones. That night, strange lights appeared in the sky. Far beyond the stars, small ships hovered, watching the colony silently. Cale realized they were not friendly. They were observing, waiting, testing him. He held Lyra close, feeling the bond between them strengthen with each heartbeat. "You must trust me," Lyra whispered. "Your courage will guide us, and your heart will protect me." Cale nodded, a fierce determination growing inside him. He knew that protecting Lyra was more than a choice. It was his destiny. Over the next days, Cale and Lyra trained together. They studied alien technology left by the Eldarians, strange crystals, glowing instruments, and devices that hummed with life filled the small chamber beneath the village. Cale struggled at first, but Lyra guided him patiently. Her knowledge seemed endless, as if she carried wisdom from thousands of worlds. Each night, Cale learned more about life in ways humans could never imagine. The bond between them grew, a mix of trust, respect, and unspoken emotions. The villagers began to notice the change in Cale. He was braver, calmer, yet more alert, as if he could sense dangers before they arrived. Some whispered fears, warning him to stay away from Lyra. But Cale could not, and he did not want to. There was a purpose to their connection, and he felt it in every breath. Together, they explored hidden chambers in the alien vessel. Inside, the walls shimmered with alien symbols, showing visions of life, planets, and civilizations. Cale realized that Lyra's sterility was not weakness. It was a form of potential. With his guidance, she could create life in a way that transcended biology. The thought was overwhelming, but exciting. He felt like he was standing at the edge of the universe, about to step into the unknown. Then one evening, danger arrived, sudden and silent. A small group of alien scouts breached the outskirts of the colony. Cale and Lyra had to hide, moving quickly through the shadows. The scouts searched for Lyra, their eyes glowing, their movements precise and deadly. Cale felt fear, but also resolve. He would not let them take her, no matter the cost. Using quick thinking, Cale activated a shield device Lyra had shown him. A bright energy dome surrounded them, confusing the scouts. They retreated, leaving Cale and Lyra alone in the quiet night. Cale's heart raced, and he realized the danger was real, constant, and growing. Lyra looked at him, her eyes soft but serious. "You see now, Cale, that life is fragile, and courage is the only shield we have," she said. Cale nodded, feeling a new strength within him. He knew that protecting Lyra was no longer just about loyalty. It was about destiny. That night, under the alien stars, Cale and Lyra stood together. The wind whispered around them, carrying distant sounds of unknown creatures. Cale felt a sense of purpose he had never known before. He understood that their bond was forbidden to others, but necessary for the galaxy. Lyra smiled, sensing his determination. "You are ready," she whispered. Together we will awaken life. And the universe will remember us. Kale held her hand tightly, knowing that the path ahead would be dangerous, but also knowing that courage, trust, and heart could change everything. The night stretched on, filled with suspense, hope, and the quiet hum of destiny. Kale felt that he had begun a journey that would test him in ways he could not imagine. And for the first time in his life, he was ready to step into the unknown. The moon rose over Arcturus 9, casting a silver glow across the colony. Kale could feel the weight of destiny pressing on his shoulders every night. Lyra's presence reminded him that life was fragile and precious. But tonight, something was different. The air buzzed with anticipation. The alien vessel had opened a hidden chamber beneath the cliffs, and it beckoned them. Kale followed Lyra carefully, stepping onto a platform that shimmered with soft light. The walls of the chamber were covered with glowing symbols, alien writing that pulsed like a heartbeat. In the center, rows of pods hovered, filled with liquid light. Kale's eyes widened as he realized what they were. Containers of life essence from distant planets. Each pod glowed with a color he had never seen. Alive with energy, Lyra turned to him, her eyes glowing softly. "This is the gift of the Eldarians," she said. "They have prepared me for one mission. Kale, a mission that only you can complete. You and I together." Kale swallowed hard, fear and excitement mixing in his chest. He had always imagined adventure, but this was beyond anything he could dream. The pods hummed as if sensing Kale's presence. Energy flowed through the chamber, warm and vibrant. Kale reached out, his fingers brushing the surface of one pod. A spark shot through him, and he saw visions of planets blooming with life, alien creatures crawling and flying, oceans forming, and skies glowing with colors unknown. He gasped, feeling both awe and responsibility. Lyra's hand rested on his shoulder, steady and reassuring. "You are the guide, Kale. The one who channels life," she whispered. "Though I cannot bear children, through you, life will awaken." Suddenly, the chamber trembled, warning lights flashing as an intruder approached. Kale grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her behind one of the glowing pods. A group of alien scouts had found the colony again, their wings casting shadows over the chamber. The suspense tightened like a rope around Kale's heart. He could feel the danger in the air, a threat that could destroy everything they had started, but he refused to panic. Relying on Lyra's guidance and the lessons he had learned, he activated a crystal device she had given him, creating a shield that pulsed with light. The scouts paused, confused by the sudden energy. And for a moment, Kale felt hope. Lyra whispered softly, "Now, Kale, focus your heart and let life flow through us." Kale concentrated, imagining the life in the pods connecting with their energy. A golden light rose from Lyra's body, flowing into Kale and into the pods. The chamber shimmered, and the pods began to glow brighter, vibrating with life. Even the intruders hesitated, sensing something beyond their understanding. Kale watched in amazement as tiny forms of life appeared inside the pods. Strange creatures, small but perfect, moving as if born from dreams. He realized that life was not just biology. It was energy, love, and courage combined. The realization filled him with awe and determination. Lyra's eyes shone with pride, and she whispered, "You are learning, Kale. This is only the beginning. Soon, life will spread beyond these walls." The alien scouts retreated slowly, sensing that their mission had failed. Kale and Lyra stood in the chamber, hearts pounding, energy crackling around them. Kale felt a deep bond with Lyra, stronger than before. They had faced danger and emerged victorious. But more importantly, they had awakened the seeds of life. The chamber hummed with energy, as if the entire galaxy was watching. Kale understood that their work would not be easy. Life was fragile, and forces across the stars would try to take it. But he also knew that together, they could protect it. days passed. And Kale and Lyra continued to nurture the life within the pods. They discovered that some forms required special energy, delicate care, and attention. Kale learned patience, strategy, and the weight of responsibility. The Eldarians had given him a gift, a chance to shape life itself, and with it, they had tested his courage, his heart, and his mind. Every night, Kale would watch the tiny creatures grow. They moved with intelligence, curiosity, and grace. Lyra smiled at him, whispering encouragement. "You are becoming what the galaxy needs." Kale, a guide, a protector, a parent. One evening, as the twin moons of Arcturus 9 rose in the sky, Kale felt a strange pulse of energy, stronger than ever before. The pods glowed brightly, life forms moving and interacting. Kale realized that their bond with Lyra was the key. Without his courage and her guidance, none of this could exist. He looked at Lyra and said softly, "Together we will protect them. We will bring life to the galaxy, and no one will stop us." Lyra nodded, eyes sparkling with pride and hope. The night was silent except for the hum of the chamber, and Kale knew, deep in his heart, that this was only the beginning of their journey. A journey that would take them to the farthest stars, and test their courage, their bond, and their love in ways they could not yet imagine. News of Kale and Lyra's achievements began to spread across the stars. Signals traveled faster than light, reaching distant planets and alien civilizations. Some were amazed by the awakening of new life. Others were jealous and suspicious. Rival factions across the galaxy saw Lyra's gift as power they could claim for themselves. Kale knew that their work was no longer safe in the quiet colony on Arcturus 9. He held Lyra's hand and looked at the horizon. "The galaxy is watching," he said softly, "and some do not wish us well." Lyra nodded, her eyes serious but calm. "We must be ready, Kale. Not just to protect life, but to defend it." The first attack came at twilight. Sleek alien ships darting across the sky. They fired strange energy beams, trying to breach the colony's defenses. Kale activated shields from the alien technology, the pods and life forms glowing in response. The colony trembled, but Kale and Lyra stood firm, guiding the energy. The villagers hid, watching in awe and fear. Kale realized that every decision he made could cost lives. He learned quickly that courage was not the absence of fear, but the control of it. Lyra guided Kale through the alien technology, showing him how to manipulate energy. Together, they created barriers, cloaks and shields that bent light and sound. The attackers were clever, testing every weakness. Kale felt sweat on his brow, but did not falter. He called out instructions, and Lyra moved with him, her presence steadying his heart. Every strike they blocked, every beam they deflected, built their confidence. The suspense was intense, each moment carrying the possibility of disaster. Kale realized that their enemies were not only after Lyra, but the life forms within the pods. The creatures they had nurtured could become weapons or tools in the wrong hands. This knowledge weighed heavily on him, but it also strengthened his resolve. He could not allow fear to control him. He had to act with wisdom. Lyra's hand brushed his, her glow warming him. "You are ready," she whispered. "The galaxy's trials are beginning, and you are the shield." During the battles, Kale discovered that some life forms reacted to his emotions. When he felt fear, they hesitated. But when he felt courage, they grew stronger. It was as if life itself trusted him, feeding off his determination. Lyra smiled, seeing the connection. "You are more than human, Kale. You are a guardian, a parent, a creator." Each day brought new challenges, rivalships, and unexpected attacks. Kale had to make decisions that would protect not only Lyra, but the galaxy's future. He learned to anticipate enemy moves, to trust instincts, and to act without hesitation. One day, a massive Eldarian ship appeared, testing Kale's abilities. They did not attack but observed, sending waves of energy to challenge him. Kale felt the pulse through his body. A test of strength, courage, and heart. He focused on protecting Lyra and the life forms, and the energy flowed through him. The Eldarian's wave met his shield, and a brilliant light filled the sky. For a moment, time seemed to freeze, and Kale understood the responsibility he bore. He was not just a man, but a force in the galaxy, capable of shaping life itself. As days turned to weeks, Kale and Lyra's bond strengthened. They moved as one, predicting attacks, nurturing life, and defending the colony. Rival factions began to respect their courage, some even offering temporary alliances. Kale realized that leadership was not about power alone, but about heart, trust, and sacrifice. Every night, he and Lyra would watch the stars, reflecting on the trials they faced. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but also full of wonder. Kale felt proud, knowing that together they were changing history. And though the trials were far from over, he had learned the most important lesson. Courage, trust, and love were stronger than any weapon, any threat, or any enemy. The pods continued to glow with life, responding to Kale and Lyra's care. Tiny creatures moved inside, some flying, some crawling, some swimming in miniature oceans. Each one carried the potential to change entire civilizations. Kale smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the joy of creation. He knew that the galaxy's trials would continue, testing them at every turn. But with Lyra by his side, he was ready. Together, they would face any challenge, protect life, and guide the future. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging their courage. And in the quiet moments between battles, Kale felt a deep sense of purpose. He was no longer just a man, he was a guardian of life, a protector of the galaxy. The colony on Arcturus 9 glowed softly under the twin moons. Kale and Lyra stood before the pods, watching the life within them stir and grow. Each pod contained a miracle, small creatures that shimmered like liquid light. Kale could feel the pulse of energy flowing from Lyra into the pods, and from the pods into him. It was as if the universe itself had chosen them to guide life. Lyra looked at him with pride, her eyes reflecting stars. "You see, Kale," she said, "these are not just creatures, they are the future. Life that carries hope, courage, and knowledge to the farthest reaches of the galaxy." Kale nodded, feeling awe and responsibility. He realized that every choice they made would shape these beings and the worlds they would touch. He gently touched one pod, and the creature inside responded. A tiny being, glowing blue and silver, floated toward his hand. Its movements were curious and intelligent, studying him as if it could understand his heart. Kale felt a bond he had never known before, a connection to life itself. He understood that nurturing this life required patience, courage, and trust. Lyra placed her hand over his, sharing her energy. Together, they guided the creatures, helping them grow stronger and more aware. The suspense of the galaxy did not wait. Rival factions had heard rumors of Kale and Lyra's creations. One night, sleek ships appeared above the colony, silent but menacing. Kale's heart raced, but he did not falter. He activated the shields and called to the creatures, who glowed brighter and moved in harmony with him. Lyra's eyes shone as she whispered instructions. "The energy within you, Kale, flows through them too. Trust yourself." Kale focused, feeling the creatures respond to his courage. They moved in patterns, creating barriers, confusing the enemy ships. The invaders were clever, but Kale's bond with life was stronger than any weapon. Energy crackled across the sky, and for a moment, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. During the battle, Kale noticed something extraordinary. The creatures were not only defending themselves, they were learning, adapting. Some created shields of their own. Others flew in formation to block enemy attacks. Kale realized that life was not just something to protect. It could fight, learn, and grow. He marveled at the intelligence and creativity emerging from Lyra's guidance and his courage. The Eldarians, observing from afar, had left a legacy within Lyra, and now it was coming to life. Kale felt proud but cautious. Knowing that the galaxy's attention would not fade, he and Lyra worked tirelessly, guiding every movement. every spark of life. Together, they were awakening a legacy that no one could ignore. As the nights passed, Kale began to understand the true nature of their mission. The life forms they nurtured were seeds, ready to bloom on countless worlds. Each one carried knowledge, courage, and potential for creation. Kale felt the weight of responsibility, but also joy. He realized that he was becoming a parent, not in the way humans usually do, but in the way the galaxy needed, a mother of life, a guardian of hope. Lyra smiled at him, her glow bright in the dim light of the chamber. "You are ready, Kale," she said. "The creatures will now learn, grow, and carry life to the stars. Our bond has awakened them, and soon, the galaxy will remember what we have done." Kale nodded, feeling both humility and pride. He had never imagined that life could be so fragile, so powerful, and so beautiful. The creatures inside the pods moved as if dancing to an invisible melody, each one unique, full of curiosity and wonder. Kale knew that the trials they faced had made them stronger, and that the journey ahead would challenge them even more. Suddenly, a message came from the Eldarian Watchers, transmitted through the crystal in Lyra's hand. "It is time to show your legacy to the galaxy." "Kale," the voice said, calm and commanding. Kale felt a thrill of anticipation and fear. He knew that revealing these creations could invite new enemies, but also allies. He looked at Lyra, whose eyes glimmered with confidence and trust. "We are ready," he whispered. Together, they opened the chamber doors, allowing the glowing life forms to step into the open. The creatures hovered, shimmered, and spread across the colony. Every movement radiated intelligence, curiosity, and courage. Even the villagers gasped. Seeing what Kale and Lyra had nurtured, Kale felt a surge of pride, knowing that their trials had led to this moment. The galaxy was beginning to notice, and whispers of their deeds would travel far and wide. Lyra rested her head on his shoulder, sharing warmth and hope. Together, they had awakened a legacy that would change the future. Kale realized that being a guardian, a parent, and a protector was more than a role. It was a calling, one that required courage, love, and unwavering faith. And as the stars above twinkled like witnesses to their triumph, Kale knew that this was only the beginning of a journey that would shape the destiny of the galaxy. The stars above Arcturus 9 shone cold and distant. Kale felt a tension in the air that he had never felt before. The Eldarians had appeared, massive ships shimmering with alien energy. They did not attack, but their presence alone carried authority and judgment. A voice echoed through the crystal in Lyra's hand, calm but commanding. "Kale, the galaxy watches, and your worth must be proven. Only those who can guide life with courage and heart may claim this responsibility." Kale swallowed, feeling a surge of fear and determination. He looked at Lyra, her eyes steady and glowing with trust. "I am ready," he whispered, though uncertainty gnawed at him. The Eldarian's trial began with a test of courage. Energy waves pulsed across the colony, altering gravity and bending light. Kale held Lyra's hand, and together they focused. Channeling energy from the pods, the creatures they had nurtured responded instantly, forming protective shields and weaving patterns of light. The alien waves tested every instinct, every bond they shared. Kale felt sweat on his brow, his heart pounding, but he refused to yield, focusing on the life he had sworn to protect. The next trial was of wisdom. The Eldarians projected illusions of chaos, villagers in danger, pods cracking, alien attackers approaching from all directions. Kale had to choose which threat to face first. Knowing that each decision carried consequences, he breathed deeply, letting courage guide him. He directed the creatures strategically, protecting the pods and guiding the villagers to safety. Every move required instinct and careful thought. Lyra's presence grounded him, whispering encouragement and sharing her alien insight. Together, they acted as one mind and one heart. The final trial was of sacrifice. A beam of energy threatened to destroy the largest pod. Filled with new life, Kale realized that he could shield it only by risking himself. Time seemed to stretch as he stepped into the path of the energy. Lyra's eyes widened, But she did not stop him. The creatures responded, intertwining their energy with his. A brilliant glow surrounded Kale, absorbing the energy and protecting the pod. Pain shot through him, but he held steady, knowing the future depended on his courage. The Eldarians observed silently, their ancient eyes studying his actions. Kale felt their judgment. Heavy yet strangely comforting. He understood that the trial was not just about power. It was about heart, courage, trust, and love. He looked at Lyra, feeling a bond stronger than any force in the galaxy. Together, they had protected life, nurtured hope, and faced danger without faltering. The creatures within the pods shimmered brighter, responding to Kale's bravery. It was a demonstration of unity, of human courage amplified by alien life. Finally, the Eldarian voice spoke again. Calm and approving, "You have passed the trials. Kale, your courage, wisdom, and heart have proven that a human may guide life beyond origin. You are worthy." Kale breathed a sigh of relief. Feeling the tension melt away, Lyra smiled, her eyes shining brighter than the stars. "You have done it, Kale," she whispered. "Together, we have awakened a legacy." Kale realized that the trials had tested not only his courage, but his ability to trust and lead. He understood that life was fragile and precious, and guiding it required strength of heart. The creatures inside the pods glowed like stars, reacting to his energy and purpose. Rival alien factions who had observed from afar paused in awe. Even they began to recognize that Kale and Lyra's work could not be challenged by force alone. The galaxy itself seemed to acknowledge their triumph. Kale felt a deep pride, but also humility, knowing that his journey was far from over. In the quiet aftermath of the trial, Kale and Lyra stood hand in hand, the twin moons reflected in the pods. Casting a serene glow over the colony, Kale whispered softly, "We did it, Lyra. The life we nurtured will change the galaxy." Lyra nodded, her glow radiant. "Yes, Kale, and the legacy we started will continue." Stronger than any force, the Eldarians slowly withdrew. Leaving the colony in peace, Kale and Lyra had proven themselves, not through weapons or strength, but through courage, wisdom, and heart. They had become guardians of life, protectors of hope, and the stewards of a legacy greater than any had imagined. As night fell, the colony rested, and the pods shimmered with new life. Kale looked at Lyra. Feeling gratitude, love, and purpose, he understood that being a mother was not limited to biology. It was about courage, protection, guidance, and nurturing life in all its forms. The stars above seemed to twinkle brighter. As if acknowledging their triumph, Kale knew that the galaxy had tested him, and he had risen to the challenge. The journey ahead would be filled with more trials, dangers, and wonders. But with Lyra by his side, he was ready. Together, they would face anything, protect life, and guide the future of the galaxy. The stars of Arcturus 9 twinkled brightly as Kale and Lyra stood atop the cliffs. The colony below glowed softly, peaceful for the first time in weeks. The pods of life they had nurtured pulsed gently, creatures stirring inside with energy and curiosity. Kale looked at Lyra, his heart full of awe and gratitude. They had survived trials, attacks, and tests beyond imagination. Yet now, the true purpose of their journey was becoming clear. Life was spreading, not just within the pods, but across the galaxy. Kale realized that the creatures they had created would carry knowledge, hope, and courage to countless worlds. The Eldarians had withdrawn, leaving Kale and Lyra to guide this legacy. Kale understood that being a mother was not about biology, but about love, protection, and guidance. He watched as the creatures emerged from the pods. Glowing and moving with intelligence, some flew into the sky, leaving trails of light that shimmered across the horizon. Others crawled across the ground, exploring and learning. The life forms responded to Kale's courage and Lyra's wisdom. They seemed to understand that they were safe, nurtured, and loved. The bond between Kale and Lyra had transformed into something extraordinary. They were no longer just human and alien. They were guardians of life, protectors of the galaxy, and parents to a new future. Rival factions who had once sought to control Lyra and her creations now watched in awe. Even the most skeptical civilizations recognized the power of courage and care. Kale realized that the galaxy itself had changed. Life, hope, and courage were spreading faster than conflict and fear. Every planet that received one of their creations would remember the guardians who nurtured it. Kale felt pride, but also humility. He understood that they were not rulers, but guides. The universe would shape itself through the choices of every being, every life form, and Kale and Lyra had set the first example, showing that love and courage could create miracles. The night deepened, and Kale felt a presence beyond their world. Energy waves from the creatures spread across space. Touching distant stars, Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder, her glow reflecting the moons. "Look, Kale," she whispered. "Our work is alive everywhere now. The galaxy remembers what we have done, and it will carry our courage forward." Kale watched the trails of light from the flying creatures. He imagined them reaching alien cities, distant forests, and oceans on planets unknown. Everywhere they went, they carried a piece of him and Lyra, their courage, their guidance, and their love. It was a legacy beyond any weapon, beyond any empire, beyond any history. Kale and Lyra spent the night among the pods, watching the creatures grow and learn. Some of the life forms began to communicate with subtle colors and lights. Kale felt joy and wonder, knowing that he had helped shape something truly magnificent. He realized that the Eldarian's gift was not only Lyra, it was the chance to become more than human. To become a guardian, a parent, a guide for the galaxy. Lyra leaned close, whispering, "You are the greatest mother the stars have ever known." "Kale, not because you gave birth, but because you gave courage, hope, and life," Kale smiled, feeling a warmth that went beyond pride. It was the satisfaction of knowing that love, care, and courage could change the universe itself. As the twin moons reflected off the colony, Kale looked to the horizon. Life forms flew toward distant stars, shimmering like comets. Some creatures landed on neighboring planets, planting the seeds of hope and knowledge. Kale understood that their journey had created a ripple effect. One act of courage and nurturing could transform entire civilizations. The galaxy would remember them, not as conquerors, but as mothers and guardians. And in the quiet moments, Kale felt peace. He had faced danger, trials, and tests, and he had grown stronger, wiser, and braver. The stars above twinkled like witnesses to their triumph. Kale held Lyra's hand, feeling the bond that had carried them through the darkness. Together, they had changed the destiny of life across the galaxy. And together, they would continue to guide it. The night was filled with light from the creatures and the stars. Kale realized that being a guardian of life was an eternal journey. Every heartbeat, every choice, every act of courage mattered. The galaxy was alive with the legacy they had awakened. Kale and Lyra smiled at each other, knowing that their work was far from over. But they were ready, and together they would face anything. For they had learned the ultimate truth, that love, courage, and guidance were more powerful than any weapon. And Kale, the human, had become the greatest mother in the galaxy. A legend whispered among stars, shining brighter than any constellation.